If you're a music artist like myself and or a mix engineer like myself, you've probably been told you need somebody separate to master your music. And for a lot of people, that might be the case, but I'm here to tell you mastering is really not hard, especially if your mix was done well. Mastering could be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. And I want to show you an extremely simple way to master your music and kind of elaborate on top of that, kind of show you how I master a song. So we have an older song that I'm working with here, kind of tired of working with the same song in every single video. So let's just hear what we're working with. This is a pretty cool song. I'm really happy with this. My mix is a little bit better than this, I would say, but this ain't too bad. And I have all the plugins I'm gonna use for mastering right here. This restream is just so we can hear the audio as it's being recorded in OBS. That's how I'm getting the screen captured. But just for a very bare bones master where we're doing a little bit of sculpting and just bringing up the volume to a commercial level, we're only going to need 2 plugins. It's going to be an EQ. We're going to use Ozone 11 and a limiter. That's going to be Flatline 2. So we're going to enable Flatline 2, but we're going to dial this in last. So we're going to look at this EQ, and I've done everything. We're going to bypass it. Go over here to a more fitting part of the song. So we're gonna enable it. And what I did is I dipped out about 700 hertz because there's a bit of a build up in the mids, and about 3K, which is a bit harsh. I sometimes get that in my older mixes. Then we're just rolling off a smidge of sub frequencies, like ones that you can't even hear. Totally optional, but I like doing it. And we're actually going to turn off this gain match because we're kind of clipping here. But for the sake of this video, I guess I'll keep it on. Just so there's not a shift in volume so you can really hear the differences. So I'm going to turn off the EQ. Put it back on. You can kind of hear that telephone effect that I'm getting from my voice is gone. Now, in a perfect world, you would want to go in on the mix and at the vocal level, whether it's at the bus or on the individual tracks, you'd want to dip out those frequencies. It works here because there is just a bit of a mid-range buildup in general, so I'm totally cool with that. Let's go over to Flatline. This is going to be our limiter. This is a very basic limiter. I like it. The output is -1 dB because that's pretty much what all the streaming services want. -1 dB. If you're doing a CD, you could put it to like 0 dB, but this will work for pretty much everything you're ever going to need digitally. The release, we might mess around with it. 4 milliseconds is good. That's kind of the default for this. And I'm just gonna trim off some peaks just so we get this up at a more acceptable volume. Dial in the threshold. It does bring a bit of excitement, this limiter. Dial it back a bit. So yeah, that could be your master. It could be as easy as that, as simple as that. And honestly, this doesn't sound terrible, even if this is not my full mastering chain. If you're doing some very basic stuff, orchestral work, or just you don't want to go crazy on the master, you're really happy with how the mix sounds as is, you could do something as simple as this. So now let's introduce a bus compressor to this whole thing. We're mostly going to be doing this for the kind of, I guess, the sound of the compressor. It's interesting how bus compressors, it's a compressor, it's dynamics control, but for the most part, when you're using a bus compressor on a master, it's mostly just to kind of get the sound out of it. You could push it and get a more compressed sound, but for this, I'm just going to dial it in and kind of just get the needle moving the slightest bit. Now, the nice thing about bus compression on a master is 99% of the time, an auto release in a 3-to-1 ratio is going to be working for the majority of your mixes, and it's going to sound good. TAC, I could do 10 milliseconds. 30 is good as well, but we're going to keep it at 10. We're going to keep the makeup gain at 0 for now. Let's dial this in. course. Makeup game a smidge. That's it. We did our bus compressor. Sometimes with mastering, you're not going to be getting big changes from each plugin or each effect. It's kind of just the whole stacking of everything and getting the effect as a whole rather than focusing on just what effect you're getting off of one compressor or one EQ, if that makes any sense. All these plugins together are giving you the big effect that you want. One plugin making a massive effect usually is not what you want anyway. So now let's dial in some excitement, saturation. We're going to be doing tape, and I'm personally only saturating about 250 hertz and above. That way you kind of keep the bass clean. You could saturate the entire frequency spectrum. It's totally your call, but I like to do this. So we're going to push this until we get some too much distortion. So how we're getting like distortion there, and then we gotta back it up. Put the mix to 0. Push it until we start getting a thickening effect. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Yeah, that sounds good. Fun little trick if you want to get some more clarity, or I guess some more air or treble out of your mix. It's cool to saturate like around the 8K area. So we're gonna do triad, however you pronounce it. Tape gets a bit harsh. So if you really want to brighten things up, we'll get rid of this. Put it back. A little too bright for this mix in my opinion, so we're going to take it off. But I kind of wanted to put it out there just so you can see some more creative things you could do on your master. And that's pretty much it. Let's go back to the limiter, make sure we're not doing too much. Actually, this is where I personally like using the hybrid mode on this. It both limits and clips, and it's just a really nice finisher. We got that ceiling at -1 dB. Color, we're going to keep at 0. You can mess around with it, but I prefer to keep it at 0. You kind of get a saturation effect out of it, but we're already saturating, so I'm not worried about it. We're going to put this at 0. Let's dial this in. And our song is mastered. So long as your mix was done fairly well, you're not going to need a separate engineer for this. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it. If I did, I'm going to mention it again. Send this mix off to somebody that you know that's, either has a good ear for production or is a fellow mix engineer, mastering engineer, just to make sure you didn't screw anything up. The only real benefit, in my opinion, to having someone else master your own music is they got fresh ears. But if you got a vision for the song, you didn't spend too much time on it. You weren't like mixing this for like months and, you just lost track of reality and how things really sound. You should be able to master this no problem, getting potentially even better results than you would get from a mastering engineer. Now, you're going to get the absolute best mastering results in the entire world. No, the world's best mastering engineers are still going to be better than you, but no one's going to tell the difference, and you're going to get some really good results. Probably better than whatever mastering engineers that you can get in contact with, if I'm being honest. And I'm not trying to make any dings on anybody, running studios that does mastering, but a lot of the times, if you had a vision for your mix and you're the songwriter, or even if you're not the songwriter, you're the mix engineer, and you are running your stuff through mastering plugins, and they're totally different from what the mastering engineer is going to do, things could start sounding weird. So a little bit of a rant at the end, but I felt it was necessary. Thoughts, comments, please leave them down below. And if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope I see you in the next one.